Welcome. I'm here with Dean with South Kern Soul to talk a little about this program that you're seeing now online called In the 661 Youth Voices of Kern. So, Dean, I want to ask you a little bit about how this program kind of came about. If you can kind of take me on the whole story arc of how it started and how we got here today.
Awesome. So I've been involved with South Kern Soul, which is our youth media nonprofit, since I was 17 years old, uplifting issues in the community that were important to me, learning about journalism skills, finding my voice through writing. And I've been with them for about 4 years, and I recently came on board as a program associate for the program. And we really wanted to expand into different methods and media forms of doing journalism. And so we wanted to explore broadcast media and doing a web series so that it's another tool for young people to be able to get their stories out. Not everybody's, a writer. Some people are more orally communicative, and we wanted to have an opportunity for young people in Kern County to really uplift the issues that matter to them, talk about community health, and uplift the charge for racial equity in Kern.
Let me ask you a question, because traditionally there has been a kind of line drawn between journalism and activism.
Yeah.
In your mind, where do you think that line is, or can those two coexist at the same time?
I think they can coexist. I mean, the journalism that we do for South Kern Soul is, traditional journalism. I mean, we do commentaries, but obviously that comes with the fact that that's going to be an opinionated piece. But we do straight up news reports as well. But I think a part of it, how it goes together, is that when young people lift up issues that they're seeing in their community and are going on, you can report on that in an objective way and still have it kind of be activisty, because it's getting the information out to people that they might not have been aware of this problem.
And how do you think it has changed you? I mean, you started the program when you were still, 17?
Yeah.
And now you're 21. How have you seen it evolve over time?
I mean, the program has just really just taken off. I mean, we've had so many great writers with our program. It's helped me a lot, not only through professional development, but also just more confidence in my own stories and my own writing, and finding my own voice through writing. We've had really great young people in our program, like Yesenia Aguilar, who wrote a story about the need for clean water filtration systems at her school, Arvin High School, which they were actually able to, because of her story and uplifting that, it was able to get the attention of the mainstream media and also the school board's attention, and they were able to implement those clean water filtration systems in her school.
Why do you think those issues are not being reported or not being seen, getting the light in your mind of day that they should?
So I think that sometimes it comes from people who are, more rural backgrounds and from more rural communities where there's not as much attention on the issues that they go through. Historically, more marginalized communities like, immigrants, people of color, LGBTQ people, they don't always have the same access to these traditional platforms of journalism and getting their stories out. And there's not always the same amount of attention because it's just not maybe close to people's hearts. Mm-hmm. So it's an opportunity for young people to tell their stories as they see them and how they experience them for the broader community.
And what do you think, though? I mean, Facebook has kind of become a war zone to some extent, and all media platforms to some extent, of people with differing viewpoints kind of shouting the loudest. How do you see kind of this being different, perhaps, than shouting from the rooftops and actually doing something good for the community?
Because it's actually telling us, it's like a narrative. We're not yelling at people. I mean, everybody has the right to have a difference of opinion, but this is just bringing in new perspectives to the conversation in a well thought out way. This is journalism. This isn't Facebook comments section, where we're just warring with people. And it's the ability just to uplift narratives that people maybe not have been aware of, and they haven't, had those experiences or known people who have those experiences. So it gives a different perspective to the conversation.
How do you view that? I mean, because some people would say those conversations are toxic, but others people would say, well, it's good that we're actually kind of finally getting some of these conversations out in the open.
I think it's definitely good that we're getting the conversation out in the open. People need to be talking about it. You can't make change in your community, or you can't have progress without people, talking about the issue and confronting it at the forefront. I mean, it's important that people have a respectful conversation about it, but it's important that the conversation is even being had.
So you've seen the kind of organization grow. Where do you see it going from here?
I mean, the sky is the limit. Raina, our executive director, she just has taken the helm of this and really has uplifted all the youth who come through the program and really just helps support us to, reach our goals. We're expanding now into, web series. We still have our written media. We're definitely expanding and trying to recruit more from our rural communities of Arvin, Lamont, Delano, and McFarland. Really the sky is the limit for South Kern Soul.
What do you think are the big issues that you guys have still not touched on yet that you kind of want to still dig into? I mean, you've talked about, some of the social justice issues of access to education and discipline in the education system. You talked about clean water access. What other things are still out there?
We've covered a broad variety of topics over I believe it's 6 years that South Kern Soul has been active, and it really just comes from the youth that are writers. Whether there's something big kind of going on in the community, or if it's something that they are seeing in their own neighborhoods that's really close to their heart. I mean, we've covered everything from like voter engagement to city council meetings to boards, to the Kern High School District board meetings to getting sidewalks for the rural communities of Lamont. So we have a lot of topics that we've covered, and it just kind of depends on the youth reporter.
How do you think that has changed? Because 20 years ago, the hands of how things got distributed was in the hands of people who own newspapers and television stations. Now, in this world that we're in, people can be their own broadcaster, have their own Facebook Live broadcast. How has that revolutionized the way that voices are heard?
I mean, I believe it's taken storytelling back into the hands of those who are experiencing it. It's having young people or community members be able to actually tell their story as they're experiencing and as those in their community are experiencing it in a way that's more personable and also really more like effective, I think.
Do you think because nowadays celebrities, when they want a press release, they put it on their Twitter feed. They don't go through a press agent or whatever. I mean, it kind of gives power, if you will, to people that didn't have it before.
Yeah, and it's diversified media. It's diversified media too. It's not just all coming from the same sources. It's crowd-surfed media. I mean, it gives a more different perspectives and a more realistic look at the whole picture.
Well, Dean, thank you very much for talking to us about this program and kind of what we may see down the road.
All right, thank you so much.
All right.